purpose of this video is to demonstrate how to install equipment at the top of the structure with use of a mini gin pole. A mini gin pole can be utilized when headroom is limited for typical rigging configurations. Using a gin pole comes with additional engagement of engineers and a qualified person in rigging. Additional communication and proper hands-on training must be completed from a qualified trainer prior to using a gin pole. Gin poles are traditionally thought of as larger devices utilized to build towers and can be anywhere from 20 feet to 140 foot long and typically hoisted with a base-mounted hoist. The ANSI ASSP A1048 defines a gin pole as a lifting device that consists of a latticed or tubular boom or mast that allows headroom above the highest fixed point of a structure, used to raise or lower successive sections of structural steel, antennas, or equipment into position. So if we look at that definition out of the A1048, that's exactly what this Perfect Vision gin pole is. This device is utilized for raising and lowering antennas and or remote radio heads or other equipment. But before we even step foot on a site, we must understand a few basic things to properly plan the work, to be in compliance, and to work safe. Gin poles must meet certain specifications and be engineered with a load chart for any lift. This comes from the ANSI TIA 322, which states gin pole classifications, design methods, impact forces, connections, fabrications or repair, and modification specifications. Spelled out within the ANSI A1048 are details such as each gin pole must have a load chart with very specific details, also including details on fabrication to meet AISC, the straightness tolerance, that the welding is completed per AWS D1.1, the material mill test reports, identification specifications, as well as inspection criteria. In addition to the pole specifications, when rigging with a gin pole or rigging to a mount, the ANSI ASSP A1048 states this scenario falls into a Class 4 rigging classification. Therefore, mount specifications, site specifications, including gross load weight, heights, distances, and rigging components, must be collected and a rigging plan turned into a qualified engineer to run the calculations to verify that the mount and the structure is adequate to support the additional loading it will see from the force of the line pull and the gross load. Once all pre-work and rigging plans are approved, the crew has arrived on site and has completed the job hazard assessment, a few things must be verified prior to starting the operation. Verify site conditions meet rigging plan configurations including gross load weight, tag distances, center line of mount, and top block location. If any of these items are different than stated on the rigging plan, escalate to the qualified person designated on the rigging plan. Plans must match actual on-site data, as small discrepancies may contribute to exceeding of working load limits. After validation of on-site conditions match the rigging plan and all other pre-work activities have been completed, such as an RF plan, rescue plan, fall protection plan, inspections, etc., then all rigging equipment must be inspected and installed per the rigging plan. This includes capstan hoist, rope, top block, heel block, tag line, load line, and gin pole. Upon arriving at the mount location, verify pipe size and thickness and that the pipe is clean on the interior to allow the pole to slide down in. Once the top block has been rigged, which this may be to the mount or the structure depending on the rigging plan, we're ready to hoist up the gin pole. During hoisting of the gin pole, there are a couple ways to maintain load control via a tagging system. One is a self-trolley system and the other is a straight tag. Both will work and simply follow which method is depicted on your rigging plan. Once the gin pole arrives near the mount, the gin pole must always remain tethered to either the load line or tethered to the structure utilizing the tieback rigging strap or a rated tether. Install the gin pole into the antenna pipe where the equipment will be mounted with the load rope pre-rigged. A note here, the tie back must be installed and slack removed from the pole to the structure. When rigging the equipment on the ground, ensure B30 compliant slings and hardware are utilized. Maximize the headroom by rigging low, mousing high for the anti-tipping, and render rigging configurations so the equipment can be secured to the mounting location without having to adjust slings or hardware in the air. While equipment is being hoisted, ensure tag distances are not exceeded and constantly monitor the load. When equipment reaches its final location, install the equipment while leaving it rigged. Equipment must be tightened to its final state prior to rigging being removed. If additional hoists must be made, but in a different location, ensure the gin pole is always tethered back to the structure. When all hoists are complete, simply lower the gin pole down utilizing a crown block either onto the structure or on the mount depending on the rigging plan. And another reminder to always maintain 100% attachment of the pole to the rigging system or the structure. Mini gin poles are a valuable tool in our toolbox to perform work utilizing the mantra of working smarter, not harder. With this complex tool comes the responsibility of ensuring the proper steps are taken prior to work as well as during operations. Plan the work, then work the plan. Stay safe.